much to us. I'm hopeful. Every day I'm feeling more hopeful.
Today marks 1 month since the start of the wildfires that ravaged Southern California, devastating neighborhoods in Pacific Palisades and Altadena, among other places. The fires killed at least 29 people and caused billions of dollars in damage. The flames are out now, but recovery, cleanup, and talk of rebuilding are ongoing. So today, our sister stations and our parent company, Disney, are teaming up with the Red Cross to raise money for those impacted. Joining us live right now is Marianna Thomas, one of the 18, actually I think it's 30 now, Red Cross chiefs, kind of disaster response chiefs out of 350,000 volunteers. So you got a lot of work there. Marianna, thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me.
All right, so tell us about One California. Folks, you can see this graphic behind us. What is that? The One California campaign.
Oh, well, maybe I could talk a little bit more about the project I worked on.
Oh, absolutely.
I would love to do that.
I know it's part of the overall effort, so
yes.
Yeah, tell us about it.
Yeah, so like you said, I am a mass care chief, and usually I deploy in that role, and I'm taking care of sheltering and feeding needs for those who've been in a natural disaster. And here in Northern California, most of our natural disasters are wildfire related, and so I worked on the Tubbs fire and the Camp Fire and about 4 or 5 other large devastating fires. They're all so devastating. They have some unique features, but they're all just so devastating if they happen to you and you're the one who's lost your home. And then I recently worked on Hurricane Helene. So I do wildfires and hurricanes. And then I worked most recently here on the LA wildfires in a remote position where I was helping our own fellow Red Crossers who were affected by the wildfires. And that was a brand new program for us.
Right, because a lot of the people who are helping out, they lost so much themselves, right?
They did.
So they needed your support. Talk about the kind of support, when something like this happens, how do you jump in to take control of the situation and provide the kind of support, whether it's feeding or clothing or shelter that people need?
Yeah, so we do a lot to ascertain what's going on with the situation. We don't just jump in and assume we know what's going on. So that we have a great situational unit at national headquarters, and it's supported by the troops on the ground, by the volunteers and employees on the ground. And so we assess what the needs are, and then we'll set up emergency shelter and feeding out of harm's way. It's a little bit, we try to get as close as we can to where the disaster happens because people like to stay close to home and school, but we'll put them out of harm's way, and we'll set up shelters where we have the feeding and the cots and the blankets, and we'll also have emotional support available. So we'll bring in mental health professionals, nurses if they've lost their medication or glasses. And so we're just listening to what the community needs. And we're also known for being a convener of partners. So we will bring in our partners to help us.
Corporate partners, you mean?
Corporate
or
partners.
Ones with money or resources as well?
Our corporate partners are very generous and are available to give donations and volunteer some of their own employees. And then we have other nonprofits and government partners who help put it all together. We can't do it alone. We need everybody when it's a mega fire like this one.
Right. Can you talk about some of the personal stories that you witnessed or people you met? I know you weren't down there yourself for this particular fire, but just the people you've talked to, what do they need?
Yeah, so it's different for everyone, and that's something that we try to train people on. You have to listen to the story of the person who's been affected by the wildfire. But what I can tell you is universally, housing is a problem. So it was a big problem in the Los Angeles area before the wildfire. Now it's even worse. So when I was talking on the phone, I was working on this from my home office in San Francisco, and when I was reaching out to people, one person said that there were people riding around in nice cars. LA is kind of a car
Yeah.
society,
But no
and
home.
with no home
Yeah.
and just desperate and nowhere to go, and ended up in Red Cross shelter. So this did not discriminate. This was a bad one.
So obviously that need is going to be there for quite some time. I
Yes,
think
it
what
is.
happens is initially there's an outpouring of donations. Everybody wants to help and pitch in, right? But then that might dry up after a month. So
Yeah.
can you talk to folks who may be watching why that need might still be there and how they can contribute?
Yeah, so it does take a while to find housing, as a very good housing, an appropriate housing solution. So the Red Cross shelters are for emergency housing, and that's where you go when you have nowhere else to go. It's a refuge of last resort. So we're always trying to get them into better housing, but that takes time and it takes money. So whatever the person needs, and we're listening for their needs, we need donations to help fund that, whether it's helping with better housing or better transportation or whatever the need may be.
All right. Marianna Thomas, thank you so much for coming on today to share your story with us. We do appreciate it. And guess what? So far, we have raised almost $10,000 through this effort. If you want to help donate, head to redcross.org/ABC. You can also scan that QR code you see there right on your screen. So we make it